Hello viewers and welcome to a new STM32 World video. Now this video is probably going to be a relatively short C tutorial where I'm going to dive into details about a C feature which I have never used before, which is bit packing. Not to be confused with bit banging and bit banding, which I have talked about in earlier video, but bit packing. Now I'll get back to what exactly that is, but let me start by well, as usual, please do like and subscribe, and if you hit a boring part in this video where I babble too much, I have nice index down below. You can always jump to the next part where I'm actually getting to the bones of this video if you like. Now, a bit of motivation why I'm making this video and why I came across this. The last 3 videos I made, I think, has been like STM32 programming with libOpenCM3, and as I mentioned in the last video, it actually bores me. I don't know why. I can't put a finger to exactly why, but there's something about libOpenCM3 that doesn't really excite me. So I'm thinking that I will probably move on to bare metal programming. That's actually more fun, where I'm diving straight into the MCU and program everything bare metal, not using any library at all, or at least creating my own library. So that is probably what is going to happen moving forward. Now, this all started with me. There's a few things to say about this. First of all, I was reading in the Koenig and Ritchie's C programming language book, and I came across a couple of features that I was aware they existed, but I have never used them for whatever reason. One of them is a union. A union is basically, as they describe here, is a variable they may hold objects of different types at any given time. If they're the same size, if they have different size, the union in total will take the size of the biggest one. But if they're the same size, they will just be aligned on top of each other. The other one, which is a feature I wasn't even aware existed, is actually what is known as bit fields, where you can define, for example, a struct where you have, in this case, 3 integers, but only of 1 bit wide. So this one, it will take, size-wise, it'll be an unsigned integer, but it will only hold 3 bits inside, and they can be individually addressed. So it is essentially a way in C to address a bit in a field. Now, we have before been talking about bit manipulation in C, and we have talked about even an ARM feature called bit banding, where you can address these individual bits in a byte. But I've never really considered that C can actually do this in a rather elegant way. Now, why is this important, and why is this related to when I'm talking about I want to do bare metal? Well, essentially bare metal programming, an ARM processor, an STM32 processor, is consisting of a core, some memory, and then a bunch of peripherals, and each of these peripherals have a unique address, and a peripheral is typically a bunch of registers, so you can control a peripheral using those registers. Now, I have used this one before because it's a good example, because it's very simple. So let's look at the random number generator, for example. The random number generator is described in great detail in the reference manual, but what it essentially does is, I think it's down at the end, you can see a summary. It basically consists of 3 registers that are each 32 bits, and then some individual bits are set or reset to control this, and the data is returned in another register. all peripherals work exactly this way. It's just a matter of how complex it is, how many registers are used to control it, but it's all the same fundamental principle. So where do I have it? I have it here. So a while back I was doing an exercise, STM32 world TRNG, true random number generator, and if you look at the code for this, it essentially it says the address of this peripheral, and then it defines some constants here, and they are basically bits that are shifted in. So it is individual bits. So if I want to, for example, enable the RNG enable, if we go back and look at this, you can see that it is shifted. It's a once shifted twice. That is the RNG enable bit, and hence in the code I did this. Now it is okay when you define them like this, but if this takes place directly inside the code, it can become a bit of a pain in the butt to actually read this code. Now the way I fire it up here is I say this and I OR it with that. So that bit will be set no matter what. So that is one way of doing it. And it's not too bad. I can live with this approach. But what I figured out is there's actually a more readable way of doing this, and that will be to use that bit packing that I talked about earlier. Now let's look at an example of this bit packing, how it works. And we have it here. I have created an union where I have a raw variable here, and then I have a struct which is that bit indexed, also a byte. So I have 2 bytes, but these 2 bytes are laying on top of each other in the memory, and using this field struct you can address them, the bits, individually. So let's see how that looks in the code, and I have made the example down here where first of all I print out that BP raw, BP byte raw, that is a byte. I print that out, and then I set the 3 of the fields to 1 and print it out again. Now rather than actually showing this, let's try to run this in the debugger. So I fire up the debugger, and I think I set up, yeah, I have a breakpoint down here so I can continue. There we go. So let's look at this before we print it out. Up here I have the expression, and you can see raw is 0 and all the individual bits are 0. Now look what happens. Oh well, okay, I can step over that, and then I can set the idle field. So this bit should toggle to 1, and it should influence the raw variable if everything goes to plan. And what do you know? The entire raw value changed to 1 because I set that individual bit to 1. Let's try with the brightness. There. And just to prove a point, let's try to set the debug mode down here to 1 as well. There. So in other words, using this feature, this standard C feature, it's been here since forever, and it works in every single C compiler available out there. You can address bits in a variable individually, and that is actually really cool. Now, why is this important and why is this relevant to what I am about to start in the next video, which is bare metal programming? Well, if you imagine this, you could actually create a structure like this. So I have a struct here which I call RNG. So a type, a struct type that I call RNG, and that is a union. It consists of 3 unions because there were 3 registers, and each of these union is a 32-bit register, and then the fields broken out in a union. It's a union So each of these fields can be addressed, and you can see it's possible here. Some of these are 2 bytes wide. This one was reserved 28. Do I still have it? I still have it here, you see. It's a lot of values that are not being used, but they can just be set like this. It's like I don't care about them, but I can still address each bit individual in these values. And then I simply take the struct that I have created, and I create a pointer to wherever that is located in the memory, and then I can address the bits individually. Now, this leads to some incredible clean code, I think. Down here, if we look at the example, I set the value of TRNG CR control register field RNG enable equals 1. I enable the RNG, and then down in the loop, I wait until data ready field is set to 1, and once that is set, I read the value out and print it. And if we try to run this, you can see we get a random variable generated by the random code generator inside the STM32. So this feature, I believe, is called bit packing. I've seen it described with other names. Kernighan and Ritchie called it what? They called it bit fields, but bit fields or bit packing, and it's basically a standard C way of defining these individual bit by using a struct and a union. It's a pretty clever little thing. Now, I have when I saw this feature, when I saw the feature, it immediately hit me in the head. Say, why don't I use that for doing bare metal programming? That would make, I mean, okay, it's a little bit annoying to having to define these for each peripheral, and believe you me, there's a lot of them, but it is quite elegant once it's done. So why should that not be done? And this is generally considered bad form by a lot of people. Now, because a lot of people think something doesn't mean I agree with it. It happens quite often that I disagree with the majority, but it does make me think. And one of the things that I saw is, if you look at this, for example, this little example, it relies, this order of bits depends on the platform. It's not guaranteed by the compiler. Now, if I read a 32-bit value from memory, in C, I don't have to care about how it is actually stored inside the memory. C will take care of that for me. When you do it this way, you have to make sure that the order of these bits are correct. But I'll call bullshit on that one when I'm doing this for ARM alone, because ARM is always little Indian. So no matter what compiler you're using, whether you're using GCC or CLang, doesn't matter. It will be little Indian, so the least significant byte will be first. End of. Another problem is that it might not always be optimal, because in order to, if I, for example, what I do down here, where I set one of these bits to 1, what the compiler will have to do is it will have to load the entire byte or word, 32-bit value, then modify that individual bit and then write it back. So it is read, modified, write structure. So it'll probably take three instructions to set 1 bit. But then again, you'd always have to do that. And you do have the feature of writing it straight into raw if you know what you're doing. So having it defined this way does not prevent you from doing it the old-fashioned way, if that is what you want. The last one is the only argument that makes some sense, and that is that some registers in STM32 will clear when you read them. that is typically used for flags. So for example, when you check this, where are we down here? I haven't looked up whether it's the case for this particular one, but for UART, for example, if you check whether there's data ready, that will actually clear the whole status flag. And that means if there was an error, that flag is no longer there. So you have to be a little careful if you read individual flags, as that may actually reset the whole register. In the random number generator, it actually, the data itself, the data register, the moment you read that data register, the random number generator will clear it and it will generate a new random number straight away. But as long as you are aware of these limitations, I think this is an incredible, elegant way of actually defining registers in your source code. And notice this is only for the compiler. I mean, this will not be stored in memory anywhere. It just down here, there's a pointer to wherever this is in hardware, but this struct up here only, it's a type def. It only describes how these things are actually stored in the memory and tell the compiler how to deal with it once you start addressing it. And well, it's just a cool thing, and it's a cool thing I was, until a couple of days ago, completely unaware of. I did not know that this exists. So with this in place and this video done, I am going to move on to actually creating some STM32 bare metal project, and I already started that, and in one of the first ones, so please do like and subscribe. In one of the first one, we are going to launch a competition where we are going to, where am I? I have it over here. Sorry. Yep. Here. We are going to make a competition where you can win one of these backplanes with MCU. So pay attention to the next couple of videos. We will announce it very, very soon. So that's about it. As usual, have a wonderful rest of the day.